Welcome to the Rusted Garden. It is the middle of October and I am closing down my beds. If you follow my videos, you know that I am moving, so I did remove a bed from out of there and there's grass seed down. So I'm not going to wheel my Mantis back porch composter over there, but I highly recommend getting a compost tumbler. I've been using it over this season. This is the end of my second batch and this is all compost, and this is how I'm going to set up my tomato beds. I'm going to take you right over there behind those two large pots, and those tomato beds are going to come out, or the plants are going to come out, the beds are going to stay. And I'm going to just set this up with compost. It'll take no time at all, but I did want to explain some of the benefits of a compost tumbler. And I will link you to my video that I did on how I set this up and use coffee grounds, which are free from Starbucks, to make 2 full containers of compost. This is all I have left. Would have worked on the third, but I knew I was moving. So, some of the benefits of a compost tumbler, and it's raining here again. We've had crazy, ridiculous rain all season. If this were sitting up here on my hill, and we'll get to using it in about 30 seconds, when your compost breaks down in the compost area, I was doing compost right up there, and it rains, the rain is going to leach away a lot of the nutrients right into the earth. The compost tumbler, the Mantis tumbler, keeps all the nutrients in there. So when this breaks down and becomes compost, which means the N, P, and K is readily available for most part to your plants, you can just drop it in your garden and your plants are going to be able to use it. I also like this because it speeds up the process. I talked about that in the first video. I mean, you can see there's no smell to this whatsoever. There's no insects in here. This is just pure compost. A compost tumbler really heats up. You can see some of the heat coming out of there as we're talking. A compost tumbler really heats up your compost. It breaks down a lot quicker, so you're able to go through a lot more organic matter much more quickly and really get this for pennies on the pound. And especially if you're using leaves, I use newspaper, you can get coffee grounds. The tumbler really makes a difference. Now I would wheel it right over there, except I did just put down grass seed. So let's get over to that bed and I'll show you how I use my compost for my tumbler to set it up. It takes minutes, literally. So here's one of the beds. It's a 4 by 8 foot bed, and I have a plant there, and then a plant would go into that corner. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I usually space my tomatoes in an 8 foot bed about every 2 feet with some space in between. I'm going to clear this out. The frost is coming, these tomatoes won't be around much longer. And then I'm just going to put the compost where these plants are. Just make piles. That's it. You let it sit. The compost will be, hit by the rain and the snow. It'll kind of work its way into the area, and then come planting time, you turn the ground, add some more compost, your plants are good to go. You don't have to spend a lot of money on any kind of fertilizers. Okay, it took not more than 20 minutes to clear that bed and set it up with the compost. This is the last shovelful that's going on there. 1 or 2 shovelfuls right to where you're going to plant your tomatoes. You could do this for peppers also. I highly recommend the back porch composter from Mantis. I am smashing this grass down, hopefully it's okay. Now if I weren't moving, I would have made more compost this year towards the end. That's 2 shovelfuls right where the tomatoes are going to go. That's all you need to do. No need to turn the soil, no need to use extra work, do extra work. There's a couple pounds probably in each area, maybe a pound, pound and a half, 2 pounds. If you were using straight organic fertilizer, it'd be really, really expensive. So I do recommend tumbling your own compost. You'll make it quickly, it's really inexpensive, and if you want to be organic, there's really 5 things you need. You only need sun, water, earth, seeds of course, and your own compost. That's what nature intended, that's how you can save a lot of money, and that's how you can be 100% organic. One final note, when you buy composted materials in a bag, it shouldn't say compost, it actually should say composting, because it's not fully broken down. When you use a tumbler, you're getting organic matter that's completely broken down, and that's really, really important. I want to stress that as the last point of this video. When it's completely broken down, your leaves, your grasses, the newspaper, whatever you're putting in there, coffee grounds, is broken down to the point that the nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, other nutrients are water soluble. They're ready to be picked up by your tomato plants or your plants, whatever you're growing. When you buy compost in a bag, it should really say composting, because most of the time it's not fully broken down. And if you've ever dropped composted manure into a planting hole and then your plant turns yellow and it suffers a little bit, it's because it's not done composting. The composted manure, the compost you buy in a bag, is often still breaking down, which means the microbiology that's breaking that bagged compost down, I know it's a lot to pull in, it's actually using the nitrogen to break it down, and it's taking it from your plant. So it's really, really important that if you put compost down, make sure it's your own and it's 100% composted, or if you're buying bagged compost, make sure you know that it's completely broken down. If not, it's going to do its thing with the microbiology and it's going to rob nitrogen from your plants until it's totally broken down. Now, if you do want to do one more thing, you could get a 5-gallon container, fill it 3/4 of the way with water, put in 1 big shovelful of the compost, mix it through. You're not really making a tea, but just mix it through, and then you would just pour it into your bed around there. When you plant a tomato, the initial roots are just going to stay around the compost hole or the compost pile. It'll get bigger, but as it grows, it's going to send roots out to all the brown space in there. So if you pour some of the compost and water around there, you'll revitalize the soil around there. But you could also do that at mid-growth too. So there's no rush to put compost down everywhere in the garden. You can just put it in the piles, and if you want to add something else, just pour water and compost right through the middle, and your bed will be in perfect shape for next year. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please check out my seed shop at www.therustedgarden.com and check out mantis.com for the back porch composter.